everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. Where come rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. I'm Ace Edwards, right alongside
Connor Baltazar.
And if you're just coming off of the venting episode, welcome to the actually happy part of the episode. But we're just going to go over the coordinator news, basically, then Aaliyah Carter coming back, then the men and women's basketball team. But let's just go ahead and dive straight into the offensive coordinator news. As we mentioned in the venting episode, Colin Klein took a position at Texas A&M. Obviously, wish all the best to him. I understand why people would be upset with him, but I still wish all the best to him. But it seems that, at least for the bowl game, according to public reporting from 24/7, that Connor Riley the offensive line coach as of right now, will be calling the plays for the bowl game. I have thoughts, and there is technically another full-time candidate that is semi-public out there. We're not going to say it out of respect for paywalled information, but if you've looked on Twitter or listened to an episode we made literally 2 years ago, you know who the person is. But I think the main focus right now for us is going to be talking about what we think of Connor Riley in the interim and as the potential guy going forward. First things first, Avery is still staying alongside Connor Riley. And until proven otherwise, I'm just going to assume that Connor Riley will be the full-time hire. I think that is a safe assumption. But Connor, before I spew thoughts, do you have any overarching opinions that you wish to state?
Just that the other name that's been floated around, I would be ecstatic if we got that person, but I do agree with you. I think it's probably going to end up being Connor Riley. And I'm willing to give him a game in the bowl game. I'm willing to see what he can do because we don't really know anything about his play calling philosophies. This will be his first time as an offensive coordinator for this upcoming game, so I'm interested to say the least. I want to know what he's going to do, what his tendencies are like. I don't think it's a super inspiring offensive coordinator pick, but I'm definitely open to the possibility. And I'm interested to see what ultimately comes of it and what type of OC he maybe could be. Because I'm with you. I do think he'll be the permanent hire probably. But I'm definitely interested.
I have made, on Twitter, I've made my initial thoughts relatively well known. If it is the full-time hire, I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm not a fan from the outset. That being said, I think everyone deserves a chance, and I'm interested to see what Connor Riley will do. A lot of people have drawn comparisons between this hire and Colin Klein getting the nod for the bowl game a couple years ago. To me, I don't... Okay, I want to make clear that the reason why I'm not necessarily on board with the hire has very little to do with the fact that it's a strictly internal hire. There was one internal hire that I actually would have been fine with, despite the fact that I think it would have started worse than Connor Riley would have been. I said it that if LePac is half the wonderkind that we've been told, he could hit the ground running and grow pains and just deal with the growing pains. The reason why I'm not necessarily a big fan of the Connor Riley hire is because, to me, it seems like a very low ceiling hire. And I'm not sure the floor is high enough to justify such a low ceiling hire. I think the absolute ceiling for Connor Riley is being a fine to good play caller. I don't think he ever breaks anywhere past the sixth or the fifth or sixth best play caller in the Big 12. And, sometimes that's all you need, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be happy with it. I think the ceiling for I don't think that this is, if the hire is made full time, I'm not necessarily sure that it's a hire that would immediately blow up in K-State's face. I just think it would go down as a really, really middling hire. And this is despite the fact that I have all the respect in the world for Connor Riley as an offensive line coach. I think he's an amazing offensive line coach. He might be one of, if not the best offensive line coaches in the new Big 12, especially now that Texas is gone. But I can make myself okay with the hire, even if there are a lot of other possibilities that I would prefer. Most notably, the other name that has been floated alongside for the coordinator search. And I think a lot of people will get caught on the fact that Connor Riley has no current play calling experience. I don't disagree with those people.
Yeah, it's definitely not a shocking pick by Kleiman, and I am also a little worried by the fact he doesn't have experience calling the plays. It's good that he does have a lot of experience as a coach. He has been around the game a long time, but still he hasn't been an offensive coordinator before. I know Colin Klein hadn't really been the primary play caller before. He had one season under Bill Snyder as a co-offensive coordinator, but he wasn't calling the plays, and that hardly counts. But he still ended up being pretty good. But there's just a lot of uncertainty, I guess, with that on our end. And at the same time, it is kind of an uninspired hire as well to elevate from within. But I'm still willing to give him a shot in the bowl game. I'm interested to see how different we look, if at all, and like what he wants to do differently, what he wants to maintain. But the important part is it seems Avery Johnson is committed going forward. He's changed his number to his high school number, which is pretty neat. And then should be starting the bowl game. So hopefully Connor Riley and Avery Johnson are able to figure something out before the bowl game that would have been just as effective as if Colin Klein had been doing it. So
one final note is that my main concern does not lie with the running game, because he is the current running game coordinator. Running plays might not move the needle at all for me watching the bowl game. It may not move the needle at all. I really want to see him in how he calls the passing game. That being said, if he runs a single bubble screen, I will immediately be banging the table for him to be hired. But any final thoughts on that before we move on?
No, just interested to see how it plays out over this next month.
Yep. So now we can move on to a little bit of Alleycats news. And after initially thinking that it was a no-brainer and then being worried about it, and now we're back to it being confirmed, Aaliyah Carter will be rejoining the Volleycat team next year, which is a massive retention, I suppose is the way to put it. I don't know what else to say. It's a massive retention. So the only person we'll be losing from this last year's team is Cindy Boulding.
Yeah. It's huge to get her to stick around for her fifth season or last season of eligibility, because before the season she had said that she was going to come back, and then by the end of the year she was kind of on the fence, but she has announced that she is going to come back for one last year at K-State, which I'm super happy about because she was awesome this season. She really had a return to form and was doing some of the things that we had gotten used to her first couple of years and didn't see as much of last year, meaning 2022. But this season, 2023, she was really good. And I think that the volleyball team is going to be back with a vengeance in the 2024 season with so many players returning. So I'm really excited. I'm happy that she's coming back as well, because she's a very fun player to watch as well on the volleyball floor. So
yeah, and it's they're going to come back with a vengeance. Hopefully they do what the Batcats do and come in preseason ranked after getting RPI.
Yeah, they had a very similar season in a lot of ways, but I think there's a lot of lessons that you can take from that and learn from it and come back and be more competitive. So I think that's probably the goal. They showed down the stretch of this season that they definitely were much improved and they come a long way from the start of the season.
Yeah. So with that bit out of the way, here's a quick word from today's sponsor. And welcome back to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast, a weekly recap going into men's basketball. Obviously, the only men's basketball news that happened this week at all. No other notable events transpired. But the first game that we're discussing is a 75-74 overtime victory over Northern Alabama, or North Alabama. I'm not sure there's a distinction. But I didn't watch this game. I was with my parents watching Napoleon, and it sounds like you and I had equally bad times.
Yeah, this was not a very fun game from the K-State perspective. It was a really bad shooting night for everybody, really. No one could get it going. Just all around awful. 3 for 18 on the game from 3. Just 35% from the floor. Luckily, we took 48 free throws in this game and made 34 of them. Arthur Kaluma was 10 of 12 on his free throws. Tyler Perry was 9 of 11 on his free throws. So those two really kind of carried us to victory there from the free throw stripe. But yeah, we were not shooting well, and North Alabama was shooting very well from 3. They had a guy go 6 of 12. And yeah, they ended up shooting 36-ish%, 10 of 28 from the field. Detalian Brown for North Alabama went 6 of 12 from the field. All of them were threes and had 19 points. They just made big shot after big shot. They took a lot of free throws as well. They went 22 of 28. But K-State, again, had that late game magic, and they were able to just escape with a win against a not good basketball team, a North Alabama team that was missing their best player as well. So we really kind of got away with one in this game. Tyler Perry had a big 3 at the end of regulation to send this to overtime. And then K-State was able to make their overtime magic happen. This was their second overtime victory in a row as well. And what you'd rather not do it against suboptimal opponents, but They still managed to get it done. There's still a few notable performances, though, which I guess I'll get into the starters here. Tyler Perry, he played 40 minutes, had 16 points on 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. Of course, that one made 3 was a big one, and then 9 of 11 from the free throw stripe. Then he had 4 fouls, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, and a steal. So not the most efficient shooting night, but really nobody had an efficient shooting night outside of a couple of players, and that was just because they happened to be tall and make layups. Cam Carter also did not have a very good shooting night. He had 14 points on 5 of 17 from the field, missing a lot of shots at the rim as well, which was pretty unfortunate. Played 43 minutes, 1 of 6 from 3, 3 of 6 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 0 assists, 2 turnovers, 3 fouls, a block, and 2 steals for Cam Carter. Then after that, you have Arthur Kaluma, who had perhaps the worst shooting night of them all. But he did make up for it on the free throw line. He had 12 points, but was 1 of 10 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, 10 of 12 at the free throw line, had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. So got kind of close to a double-double, 12 points, 8 rebounds. Flirted with it, but not quite enough. David Gasson, he played 28 minutes, finished with 12 points, was 5 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 at the free throw line. He had 7 rebounds, 4 fouls, 1 assist, and a block. So solid stat line there for David Gasson, although he still has his moments. And then Day-Day Ames was the final starter. He played 30 minutes and had 2 points, just made 2 free throws and missed all of his shots from the field. And he had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, and a steal. So an okay day, but not a really impactful day for day-to-day aims, unfortunately. But that's just how it's gonna be sometimes for the younger guys. They're just gonna have some days where it isn't their day.
Yeah. In terms of bench players, you have Jarrell Colbert, 16 minutes, 10 points on 3 of 5 from the field, 4 of 7 from the free throw line, 8 boards, 1 foul, 2 blocks. Then R.J. Jones, who will now officially be taking over the title of Good Job R.J., hereby decreed by me. 17 minutes, 6 total points, 1 of 3 from the field, 1 3 made, and then 3 of 3 on his free throw attempts. With 3 boards, 1 foul, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 block, and 1 steal. So he was 1 block away from stuffing the stat sheet with every stat. And then Buddy Rich, 13 minutes, 3 points, 1 of 1 from the field, 1 of 3 on his free throw attempts, 1 board, 2 fouls, and then 1 steal. Like I said, I wasn't able to watch this game. The only thing I was able to watch was the highlights they showed at the very end of the Villanova game. And if that was the only thing I knew from the game and also didn't know we were playing North Alabama, I'd be like, wow, nice win. What's next? 1-0. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, this was not a fun watch for most of it. The only time I was even a little bit happy was when Tyler Perry hit the big 3, and then when we kind of pulled away in overtime. Although North Alabama did hit a buzzer beater right as time expired to make it a 1-point game. This really was 75-71. This is kind of similar to when Nigel Pack hit like a half-court 3 against Iowa State in the Bruce's final home game to make it a 1-point loss. Didn't really mean a whole lot. Oh, and also one more thing about this game. Will McNair did not play for disciplinary reasons. He warmed up, but Drum Tang benched him, and he did not play in this game, which was a little surprising, kind of came out of nowhere. Same thing as the Arthur Kaluma situation, at least I think it was, or at least in terms of how it came out of nowhere. But K-State escapes with the win 2 times in a row against far inferior opponents. So
yeah, so our hopes for this next game weren't exactly high. And then we, just beat Villanova 72-71 in overtime. What? I watched this game and I still don't really know how we won. I'm happy we did, don't misunderstand me, but I can't explain to you how it happened. It was at the very least, I will say this was a fun game. It was infinitely more fun. How much of that is knowing that Villanova is a considerably better team, I'll leave up to you. But, just going straight into the stats, Arthur Kaluma had 44 minutes, 26 points, 10 of 13 from the field, 3 of 3 from deep, 3 of 3 on his free throws as well, 9 boards, 1 foul, 4 assists, 5 turnovers. The only complaint there is the 5 turnovers, and also the fact he only had 1 board in the second half because he was on double-double watch and 10 minutes left in the first.
Yeah, he racked up 8 rebounds really quickly in the first half, and then he just stopped. And that was really frustrating because 2 games in a row, he is nearly at a double-double. So,
yeah. But Cam Carter, 42 minutes, 16 points on 7 of 12 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 4 rebounds, 2 fouls, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal. Tyler Perry, 41 minutes, 10 total points, 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 10 from 3, which of course were the 2 biggest shots of the game because Mr. Big Shot is here, I guess. 1 rebound, 3 fouls, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, no steals. Will McNair back in the starting lineup, 31 minutes, 9 points, 4 of 10 from the field, 1 of 1 on his free throw attempts, 6 rebounds, 2 fouls, 2 turnovers, 2 blocks, 1 steal. And then David Gasson, 37 minutes, 4 points, 2 of 7 from the field, 0 of 2 from his three-point attempts, though they did look infinitely better than they have before. 10 total rebounds, 1 foul, 1 assist, 4 turnovers. I'm sorry I keep laughing, but David Gasson is the Christian Duffy of the basketball team, where he's very steady, but whenever he makes a mistake, he tends to make the funniest possible mistake. If Hayes is listening to this, I'm sure he's having a grand old time. But 2 blocks and 1 steal. So, pretty decent. You have 3 of your starters in double digits, although you want Tyler Perry to be a little bit more consistent with his scoring, maybe push into the, at least the mid-teens with, the points. But you're not going to turn down a 26-point performance from King Arthur.
No, not at all. Arthur Kaluma, the last few weeks, with the exception of the North Alabama game, has kind of emerged as this team's most reliable scoring threat. Right now he's averaging the most points on the team. Granted, it's just by a tenth of a point right now, because Cam Carter, Tyler Perry, and Arthur Kaluma, they're all sandwiched together right now around the 16.5, and they're all off by like 0.1 points per game. But Kaluma, incredible game from him, perfect from three, and he really let the game just come to him, and that worked out super well for him. That and Tyler Perry, it's frustrating that he's going 2 of 10 from three, but he's making them when it counts, and that huge three at the end of overtime was one of the better crowd reactions that Bramlage has had in a long time. So huge shout out there. That was a massive win. I wish we could go back to when we won this game, because everything was good.
Everything was happy.
But just so clutch from Tyler Perry to make that shot there at the end, and what was a super entertaining game, like you said. And then the bench, not a lot going for the bench. Only 3 players, and none of them really made massive impacts. Day-Day Ames is the only one who scored. He scored 7 points in 19 minutes. He was 2-5 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, made 2 free throws, and 1 rebound, 2 fouls, a turnover, and a steal. And then RJ Jones, he only played 6 minutes, but he had 2 rebounds, a foul, an assist, and 2 steals. So pretty solid stat line for just 6 minutes from the freshman. And then Jarrell Colbert, he played 5 minutes, and he had 1 foul and did nothing else. So
it was a really confusing foul as well, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't remember much of it, but it definitely was a little weird. But this was a really hard-fought victory for a game that we didn't have a lot of faith in based on the prior few outings that we had seen. But Arthur Kaluma was super consistent throughout this game. Tyler Perry stepped up when we needed him. Will McNair was back and playing pretty solid. And Cam Carter had a good game too. So when that big three of Kaluma, Carter, and Perry are able to all get into double figures, that just does wonders for this team, and that's what we're going to need now.
Yeah. Also worth noting, no, I had it and I lost it. That's really unfortunate.
I'm really sorry about that, man.
Dang, that sucks.
But yeah, this was a super fun game. I'm glad that we were able to pull it out, but it's just going to be really difficult to continue to win games like this, because this now marks 3 straight overtime victories for K-State. And so we've now, at this point, played almost an entire extra half of... No, we have played an extra half of basketball this year. Because we've been in overtime 4 times, including 3 times in a row. So we have played 20 more minutes of basketball than have been necessary this year.
Yeah, I think that's the best way of putting it. The thought's gone, by the way. It's not coming back.
I was trying to buy time for you, but...
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's not coming back.
I'm really sorry.
It'll come up in the middle of the women's game. But the next men's basketball games are December 9th up against LSU in Baton Rouge. I was about to make a Baton Rouge comment. I'm good, actually. But the last time we made a Baton Rouge comment, LSU fans got very upset. If I speak big trouble. And then the next one doesn't necessarily matter because we'll get to talk about it again. But it is Nebraska at home. The next home men's basketball game. I'm just going to leave that one there. And provide no further comment. But that is the men's basketball schedule. Now we can talk about the women's team. And once again, it's the team we're most excited to cover. The 2 games that there are is up against Jackson State and McNeese State. They embarrassed a good Jackson State squad. And they're... Jackson State going into this was 5-1. This is not a Jackson State squad that should be held to under 40. They did it. Not only did they not only did K-State do it, they doubled them up. It was 79-37. Guys, I think this team might be good.
Yeah, I mean, this was a Jackson State team that gave UCF a run for their money and beat St. John. So they're out here and they're competing and beating high majors. And then K-State just jumped out to a huge lead really fast and ended up just blowing them out by 42.
Yeah.
And this one was never in doubt. This women's team's been so much fun to watch. They've been everything that I've hoped for and more. And they actually shot really well from three in this game, too. They made 10 threes in this game for the first time in an eternity. It was probably sometime last year, but it feels like it's been a long time. They just, as a whole, were really solid. There was no one player that jumps out on the points line here. I mean, the most points scored by anybody in this game was 13, but all but two players scored. No, actually, all but one player scored in this game. But we'll start with the starters here, who luckily didn't have to play too much in this one. Jalen Glenn had 13 points and led the team in just 25 minutes, 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. Had 4 rebounds, 2 fouls, 2 assists, a turnover, and then, of course, 3 steals. Ayoko Lee had 12 points in just 23 minutes, 5 of 9 from the field, 2 of 2 at the free throw line. And then added 5 rebounds, had 2 fouls, and had 2 blocks and a steal. Serena Sundell had 10 points in just 25 minutes, 5 of 6 from the field, missed her 1 3 attempt and her 1 free throw attempt, but had 7 rebounds, 1 foul, 5 assists, just 1 turnover, and then a block and a steal. Full stat sheet for Serena Sundell. Then Gabby Gregory, she had an all right game. Didn't have to do a ton of shooting, but was a little bit better than she has been in that department. 8 points, 3 of 8 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, and had 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Did have 5 turnovers, though, but that's okay. If you're going to have 5 turnovers, this is probably the game to do it. And then Briley Glenn finished out the starters with 7 points, 2 of 4 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, made her 2 free throws, had 3 rebounds, then 1 assist, 0 turnovers, and a steal. So not a lot of playing time for the starters because we're luckily doing things that great teams do, and that's blow out bad teams in your non-conference so you can rest your starters.
Yeah, I don't even think this is a bad team.
Yeah.
That's they're just not on the same level.
Which I thought that they might give us a bit of a run for our money because Jackson State is a team that's super tall.
They're freakishly tall and they're pretty athletic despite their height as well.
Yeah, they're the really the only team this year that has position by position really matched up with us height-wise. Across every position, maybe with the exception of point guard. Their point guard was a lot shorter than Serena, but Serena's also just a freakishly tall point guard. Yeah. So it's hard to blame them for that. But yeah, this was a game where I thought they might cause some problems for us, but instead we just shot the lights out of the gym, 10 of 23 from 3-point range, nearly 50% from the field, and just controlled and had no issues in this game, really.
Yeah. Now we can go through the long list of bench players who played. Terrence Sides played 20 minutes, 10 points, 3 of 6 from the field, 3 of 4 on her three attempts, 1 of 2 from the charity stripe, 5 rebounds, 2 fouls, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 block, only 1 steal away from a full stat sheet. Also, 5 rebounds at 5'6" against a ridiculously tall Jackson State squad is crazy. Gisela Sanchez, 6 points with 20 minutes, 3 of 9 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 1 block. Ziana Walker, 4 points on 15 minutes, 1 of 4 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3, made both of her free throw attempts, got 4 boards, 2 fouls, 5 assists, 4 turnovers, 2 steals. Eliza Maupin, 3 points on 6 minutes, 1 of 2 from the field, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. 2 rebounds, 1 foul, 1 steal. Rebecca Dollinger, 3 points on 4 minutes, 1 of 2 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3 with 1 offensive rebound and 2 turnovers. Jamia Harris, 2 points on 10 minutes, 1 of 2 from the field with 1 foul. Imani Lester, 1.7 minutes, 0 of 1 from the field, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. 3 rebounds, 1 foul, 1 assist, 2 blocks. And then finally, Heavenly career, no points, 6 minutes, 4 fouls, 1 steal, which sounds like a pretty typical Heavenly career being watched closely by the referees moment.
Yeah, that's her penance for getting out of NCAA jail.
Yeah.
Is she gets called for a foul a minute or something like that. But yeah, this was exactly what we should expect from this women's basketball team. They shot over 50% in the first half, and in the second half were largely on cruise control offensively, and held a team under 40. I mean, never can complain about that, especially a team that's beaten some actually good squads this year in Jackson State. So a pretty solid win, very solid win from K-State women's basketball. But it does get even better.
It gets way better. Dropping 100 burger on McNeese State. Granted, a not very good McNeese State squad, but no one needs to know that. 101-39. I felt bad like 2 minutes into the second quarter.
Yeah, this is a weird McNeese State team. The game before this, they beat some NAIA school 102-28. And the game before that, they lost to Baylor by 80. So this is a team of extremes. We'll say we'll call it that. But K-State was up by 30 in the second quarter of this one. They were up by 40 by the fourth quarter, and they truly redefined the meaning of the word coasting by like the halfway point of the second quarter in this one. So you get the starters this time though.
Oh boy. Yeah, none of the starters played more than 21 minutes. Gabby Gregory, 16 points on 15 minutes, 5 of 11 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. Perfect from the free throw line, 4 of 4. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 1 steal. Ioka Lee, 15 points on 17 minutes, 7 of 10 from the field, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 2 blocks, one of which was a murder. Seriously, if you haven't found that highlight of Ioka just destroying some poor shot and then Gabby Gregory laughing immediately afterwards. Gabby Gregory was surprised by it as well. She just put her hand over her mouth and started laughing because she wanted to be polite and not laugh at the person's face. I feel bad for laughing. They don't deserve that, but at the same time, it's really funny. Briley Glenn, 11 points, 16 minutes, 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. 2 rebounds, 1 foul, 5 total steals. So taking a little bit of from her sister's book there from the steals. Speaking of, Jalen Glenn, 7 points, 18 minutes, 3 of 6 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. Perfect from the free throw line, 1 of 1. 9 rebounds, 2 fouls, 3 assists, 2 steals. And then finally, Serena Sendell. 5 points, 21 minutes, 2 of 7 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. 3 rebounds, 1 foul, 6 assists, 2 turnovers. So again, ideally you want Serena Sendell to do more. Yada yada yada. We blew him out by 70.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot to really take from the starters' performances in this game. I think there's just complete domination when they were on the floor, except for kind of the first quarter for a bit. We were, I think, sleepwalking a little bit to start the game. I got that figured out pretty quickly. But we moved on, and we also got to see the reserves a lot in this game. Arguably, the best performance was by one of those reserves, Gisela Sanchez. Had maybe her best game as a Wildcat. She had 12 points on 5 of 7 from the field and was 2 of 2 from 3-point range. She added 8 rebounds, 1 foul, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 4 blocks, and then a steal as well. So she was really, really good against McNeese State. And then another player that everybody's been having a lot of fun watching this year is Taryn Sides, and she had a pretty good game too. And 9 points on 3 of 9 from the field. Didn't make any threes, but she did make all 3 of her free throws. And she had 3 rebounds, 2 fouls, and then 8 assists to 0 turnovers, including some very nice passes in transition, including a nice behind the back at one point. So, really nice stuff from Terrence Sides, who is already pretty much completely up to speed as a Power 5 athlete. So that's been really encouraging to see. It was good to see her get a lot of run in this game. Heavenly Greer's up next. She only played 9 minutes, but had 7 points. Was 3 of 3 from the field, made her 1 free throw, and she had 3 rebounds, 1 turnover, 2 blocks. Eliza Maupin played 10 minutes and had 6 points and made 2 shots, 2 of 4 from the free throw line, had 4 rebounds, a foul, and then 2 assists with 2 steals. Jamia Harris played 16 minutes in this one and played had 5 points, 1 of 4 from the field. All of those attempts were threes, and then had 2 free throw makes as well. She had 1 rebound, 3 fouls, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Ziana Walker had 15 minutes played, 4 points, 2 of 3 from the field, 5 rebounds, 2 turnovers, and a steal. Rebecca Dollinger got 10 minutes as well, had 4 points, 2 of 3 from the field, and 0 of 1 from 3, 2 rebounds and an assist. And Amani Lester, only player on the roster not to score in this one, had 11 minutes played, 0 of 4 from the field, 5 rebounds, 4 fouls, 3 turnovers, 3 blocks, and a steal. So, yeah, pretty much everyone was involved in the game. Only one player didn't even get to 10 minutes, and that was Heavenly Greer. But we were rotating pretty heavily in this one. This was a lot of fun, especially if you wanted to see some of the players that you may not get to see as much in a conference play, because we really emptied the bench early in this one. There's a lot of talent on this team, and that's become super obvious. There's a lot of players to really enjoy watching on this team. So this one was fun. This one was a lot of fun. It was a breath of fresh air on a very dark day.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because this, and of course this game was on the day of
reckoning.
The day of reckoning for K-State. So this was at the very least a nice little send off at the end of maybe the worst day of all time for K-State athletics. So the women's team did take up the mantle there. Just blew out a team that deserved to get blown out, I guess.
Yeah. In terms of upcoming games, there's really only one in between now and our next recording, and that is MU. I think you can listen to it. Apparently it's listed as ESPN Plus, so maybe you can actually watch it, which would be a nice change. But any final thoughts for this week, or are you ready to put this week behind us forever?
I think it's probably time to let this week go, which is too bad because there have been some really great performances from this past week, like the men's basketball team and their thriller against Villanova, and the women's basketball team just playing at such a high level right now. It's always going to be overshadowed by some of the off-the-court stuff that's been going on this week. But there were still, despite some of the bad things going on in the periphery, there were some really great on-the-court performances that shouldn't be overlooked this week. So I hope everybody takes the time, or at least some people take the time to appreciate the performances that happened over the last week.
Yep. But that's pretty much it for this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. If you want to follow or contact the show, you can follow us just about anywhere at Aggieville Alleycats. If you want to email us, we're AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I am at ACEdward00.
I am at Connor Baltazar, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show financially, please be sure to check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store, link in our podcast and Twitter bios. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast, where come rain, shine, or anything between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. Stay safe, Alleycats.